All right, thanks for tuning in once again. It's Ishmael Sistrunk with the St. Louis American and STLamerican.com. Here with Palmer Alexander III, our Rams Roundup columnist, and we are here for the Rams recap. Palmer, a very, very exciting week of football. The St. Louis Rams eked out a victory over the Buffalo Bills, had a nice fourth quarter comeback to pull it out. What enabled them to win this game?
What helped them win the game was that the coaches, they made an adjustment, after halftime. They wasn't getting a lot done in the running game. They started opening up, and then it also helped that guys start executing their blocks, catching the football. They dropped their fair share of passes. Bradford did a better job in the second half. He only completed 5 passes in the first half of the game, and sticking with the basic principles, man. I mean, pressure up front. Being disciplined in their running lanes, and holding the Buffalo ground attack at bay, which they did a great job with it, and kept the game close where they can be able to get a victory in the end.
Yeah, and that was, I guess it's not surprising because the Rams' front four has been very, very good, but they really did shut down that running game. They kept Spiller, I think, to about 37 yards. Yeah. Fred Jackson kept him down to pretty much nothing as well. And that was really going to be the Bills' key to success, is getting that running game started to open it up with Ryan Fitzpatrick, but that never really happened.
No, it didn't happen. And what the Rams did is bring Quentin Michaels up close toward the line of scrimmage, and he was pinching in on the weak side. And what made that effective with them slowing the running game down is that he's coming off the weak side, and he's coming off that edge. And what he's doing with that is that he's taking away any cutbacks or any reverses, things of that nature. And he was able to, he had a couple of tackles for loss. He led the Rams with 8 tackles in that game. So, and then you had everybody playing discipline on defense, no penalties. There was the Cortland Finnegan had the 15-yard penalty, but it really didn't hurt the Rams. Only 2 penalties in the game, so that was really key too.
Yeah, and that's something that's been a real big difference. We talked about some of the Rams' losses, the tough losses that they've had. They've really been plagued by penalties, and I call it the ghost of Alex Barron because a lot of them are foolish penalties. Right. It's not even just you get a holding, but you get a holding on a 50-yard reception, or you get a false start. And, when you're in a position where you need the clock stopped, you got 2 yards to go to get the first, and you're getting a false start and getting pushed back. So the fact that they only had 2 penalties, and none of them were those boneheaded penalties, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely, especially on the road, and especially in the month of December when your record is where it is right now. And I know it's a long shot for them to make the playoffs, but they're playing for something. And this shows, again, the growth of the Rams and what they're trying to do with Jeff Fisher. Earlier this season, they had problems pulling out close games. And now they're starting to buckle down, and you're seeing this team. We're watching this team practically grow before our eyes, and it shows that the Rams made the right decision in the offseason to bring in Les Snead and Jeff Fisher, because he's building the team now. And Ishmael, he's building a team that's tough mentally and physically. And on one of the dry eraser boards, and it says speed, violence, and surprise. Right. And those elements are big keys to why the Rams are turning this thing around.
And one thing to think about, one of your favorite players on the team, Brandon Gibson, of course, he came through with the big touchdown catch, got right at the century mark in receiving yardage. But how big was that catch for him or for the team?
I think it was huge for him, and you hope that eventually he'll turn it around. He's only 25 years old, and this is his 3rd year with the Rams, and he's just now getting his first 100-yard game. He's somebody that if you already got a solid 1 and 2, he's a great 3 or great 4 to get the ball to. But in the meantime, he also has a rapport with Sam Bradford. He didn't catch a pass last week or the week prior to that. It was a disappearing act. He has to be a part of the passing game. When Danny is not available, he has to be that next guy to step up, and he did. And like I said, big catch in the end zone, hung onto the ball, got out of bounds when he needed to, and that big one was a 3rd and 15, so he did a great job getting out of bounds. So, like I say, I hope he stopped teasing and just you know what I'm saying, and play. You know what I'm saying? Because when he does, he can make a play. He may not ever be that 1,000-yard receiver, but he could definitely carve out his own niche in the NFL.
Right, and I think, that's an area where sometimes he's miscast because the Rams have been so light on receivers over the past years. People want him to be that number one. They see the spectacular catches that he makes at times and say, why can't you do this all the time? But you got to remember, he was a waiver wire signee. He was a guy that was released, I believe, from Philly, and we picked up off the waiver wire. So he's not a guy like Brian Quick, who was a high, draft pick or anything like that. But he's a guy we literally picked up off the trash. So for what he's contributed, although it's frustrating to see him drop some of those easy passes sometimes, but he's still a good contributor for the offense.
Yeah, absolutely. He's, so he has problems sometimes getting open, but I think that in certain situations in that 10 to 15 yard area, he's just as good as anybody getting open. Now, like I say, a lot of talk now is like the Rams receivers that have a hard time getting open. I mean, if there's one guy that can get open, is Brandon, because he does have the ability to be able to shake a defender and get him off him and create some space for himself. He'd never be a downfield threat, but in that 10, 15 yard area, he could still be very effective and keep moving the chains.
Right, and what do you think about the running game? Steven Jackson, it's always encouraging to see him get into the end zone. He had 19 carries, 64 yards, which is an okay game, but, once again, he is having a good, solid year running the football.
Yeah, and the thing that we take for granted with Steven is ball security. It's like, he touches the ball. You don't worry about it coming out here. Now, he had the one drop pass, and like you say, you hardly ever see that happens. But, again, he's a constant for the offense. Now, he missed some holes, but you got to give the front four Buffalo some credit too. They did a good job of not allowing him to slide through the creases. They also did a good job of bottling up Derrick Richardson. He didn't uncork one of his, big runs, as he's been doing almost seemed like every game, uncorking a big run. They did a good job bottling him up. So, again, Steven got positive yards. He averaged about 3 yards a carry, but he got into the end zone. And again, just another solid game for him.
Now, what about the quarterback play? We talked a little bit about Sam Bradford, and he's actually starting to earn a reputation of being a fourth quarter guy. This is yet another game where we see the Rams, even though the offense, may struggled earlier or isn't necessarily knocking anybody's socks off.
Right.
When it gets to that fourth quarter time, Sam Bradford starts to lead them on drives.
Yeah, and he doing it, and he's starting to make it look rather easy. Now, in the game against Buffalo, there were some passes that he was lucky. I mean, he almost got picked in that drive. The 4th and 1, he throws the ball behind Austin Pettis. Austin Pettis makes a great catch.
Phenomenal catch.
To keep that drive alive. The touch that when he threw the touchdown pass to Brandon Gibson, that's touch. And that's one of the things that I was kind of concerned about a few weeks prior. I was like, does he have the touch? Can he make those throws? That was a difficult throw to make in the red zone. And he's been doing it consistently all year long in the fourth quarter. The thing is, can we get 4 quarters like that?
Now, that reminds me of another quarterback in New York. What people said that about him. Hasn't gotten a chance, but I'm not even going to mention his name. So going to the players of the week, like I said, got a big victory. The Rams are now 6-1. 500 football around here is, that's like you won some kind of title. Who are your players of the game on the offensive side of it?
Well, I'm going to give it to Brandon Gibson. First 100-yard game of his career, big catch in the end zone. and he just have to consistently keep it up.
All right, what about the defensive side?
Hey, on the defensive side, I'm going to give it. Can I finally give one to Jolon Dunbar? I tell you, he had 6 tackles. He had the interception at the end of the game. He also had a sack, and it's just that he's always somewhere around, and they're just he just brings that element of nasty. He and Corley Finnegan are 2 of the nastiest SOBs the Rams have had on defense in a very, very long time. And this team is, I'm telling you, it's getting this character. You know, like the Greatest Show on Turf had this thing about this finesse. Now we got a rugged, ugly playing football team, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, and really that's what you expected when they signed Jeff Fisher. When they brought him in and signed, everybody said, okay, this team is going to run the ball, this team is going to play defense. And these are the things that we're seeing, you know, and that's what, as they have improved in those areas, you know, they're starting to win more consistently. They're starting to, you know, build up that record. So I think it's definitely encouraging for the future to see this franchise being tough, being gritty, because some teams can't handle that. When the Rams were the Greatest Show on Turf, those were teams that they had problems with.
Yeah.
So now as we're in a more, you know, pass-happy, spread-them-wide league, you know, maybe this type of defense that's gonna, you know, give those teams some trouble.
And I think it does. And you look at when they played against San Francisco, and people's like, well, the Rams will have trouble because San Francisco play a rugged style of football. Well, the Rams beat them at their own game. Going up into Buffalo, a difficult place to play. I don't care what the record is. Going up in Buffalo in December is never easy to do. And they shut down again a top 5 run attack with C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson. They got the #1 running back coming to the league this Sunday, and I expect the Rams to contain Adrian Peterson. I expect them to do that.
So, well, before we go there,
Your intangibles.
I'm going to briefly give my intangibles player. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Quentin Michael. Like you said, he had 8 tackles, had a big game on defense, helped out in a low-scoring game. You know, for him to play that well and to step up,
right.
You know, I'm going to give him that intangibles player. But back to this week, like you said, the Minnesota Vikings and Adrian Peterson, you said you think they're going to be able to contain them, but are they going to be able to beat them?
Yeah, they'll be able to beat them. One, because it's almost the same way like when they beat Seattle. Marshawn Lynch is another top running back. What the Rams are doing, like I said earlier, you know, you got Quentin Michael. Quentin Michael's going to be that extra guy up near that line of scrimmage. You're going to see a lot more of that because it's more effective. And basically, the Rams are going to have to pursue the ball like they've been doing, gang tackling. It's going to take more than one person to bring Adrian Peterson down. You can't hit him up high. If you hit him up high, he's just going to shove you to the ground. They're going to have to hit him low, hit him hard, and bring him to the ground, but the Rams can be able to do it. They've done it consistently. Like you say, you saw, you know, Matt Forte did not have a big game against the Rams. Frank Gore got shut down. We saw what they did with two really high-profile running backs on the road in Buffalo. This is a home game. The Rams are feeding off that frenzy, and they will be able to contain Adrian Peterson. If they hold him under 100 yards, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Christian Ponder. And, you know, they don't have a lot of weapons. Adrian Peterson's all they have. If they stop him, they won't have a problem beating Minnesota.
Now, you talk about focusing on Adrian Peterson and, you know, double teaming them, hitting them low, all the above, but that's something that every team that he goes against, undoubtedly, that's their strategy. So what will the Rams do that's really going to set them apart?
Well, the Rams are going to continue to stay disciplined. It's a simple formula. You know, bringing pressure, having extra guys in their box, everybody stay in their lane. You know, that's why they've been having success, because guys are not doing more than they're capable of doing. Everybody's doing their assigned job. You do your assigned job, and you will get the results. And that's why they've been playing better football. That's why they won 3 in a row, because they simplified things on defense, not getting too cute, not getting too complicated, and it's working for them.
And I think that the absence of Percy Harvin, that's going to be huge
That's
for the
huge.
Rams.
That's huge.
He's a big time playmaker, and he's able to make something out of nothing.
Yeah, on kick returns, all types of things. So that's why I like the Rams' chances against Minnesota this week, because Minnesota doesn't have a lot. On defense, they still have some good components there. Chad Greenway is one of the best linebackers in the league. So again, you hope that guys like Lance Kendricks can step up and keep him honest, and keep it open up those lanes for Steven Jackson.
So do you think offensively is Steven Jackson going to be the key to victory, or is it going to fall more into Sam Bradford's hands because they have a pretty good front four themselves there?
Yeah, I think it's gonna help that Danny Amendola is going to be back, and that's going to help at least take some of the extra pressure off Sam Bradford. He has his security blanket, as we like to say, and it opened up the playbook a little bit more. The Rams should be able to mix it up a little bit better. Hopefully, Brandon Gibson continue to be a key contributor if he's contributing. And then you got Danny Amendola. That's going to open up Chris Givens. Chris Givens haven't had a play over 50 yards since Danny Amendola went down. Is that coincidence?
Right. Now, you've been down at Rams Park this week. We know Danny Amendola is coming back, but is Danny Amendola coming back, or is it just his jersey on the field? Is he going to be at full speed, or if he's not, what do you think his percentage is of healthiness? Is he going to be a healthy Amendola, or is he going to be a decoy Amendola?
Jeff Fisher said in the press conference he expects Danny on the field. He said the thing about Danny is that he goes 100 miles an hour, and sometimes that put him at risk. So he figured, why risk him in the Buffalo game when you can have him as close to 100% you're going to get him for the season. So Danny's going to be ready to go against Minnesota, and I think that's going to help Sam Bradford out a lot, and hopefully open up that passing game, and then eventually help the running game.
Okay, so you already predicted a victory, which would be a 3-game winning streak for the Rams. We haven't seen that in who knows how long.
No, you know what? No, it'd be 4. It'd be 3-game winning streak, but it's going to be 4. It's going to be 4 after they beat Minnesota.
Gotcha. Which that hasn't happened here in a long time. You see, I can't even count that high because of that. I'm going to agree with you. I'm not really afraid of what the Minnesota Vikings have. Of course, Adrian Peterson is a beast, but as I've been telling people, like you said, the Rams have contained pretty much every running back that they've come against. All the big name backs that have been out there, they've been able to contain them. So without having Percy Harvin, that speedy threat that could catch them up downfield, I think the Rams will do pretty well, and I think they'll pull out a victory here as well.
Yeah, and not only that, but I think not having Percy Harvin helps the Rams corner. They can be a little bit more aggressive. They can dare pound and make throws. Now, I forgot about Kyle Rudolph. They gotta don't get so caught up in stopping the run that you forget about Kyle Rudolph. He's a big safety valve for a Ponder, and you don't want him getting loose in those seams. So if you got Quentin Michael up there playing that close to the line of scrimmage, it's going to be on the onus of Laurinaitis and for him to communicate with the rest of the secondary so Kyle Rudolph doesn't have one of those Gronkowski type of games against the Rams secondary.
Right now, are the Rams, their defense, are they going to be coming at Ponder? Or are they really going to be trying to get in his skin?
They're going to attack him. They're going to harass him. The Rams had 5 sacks, but they hit Fitzpatrick 11 times. They hit him with everything that they had, and I think that is the biggest key. I think once you get inside the quarterback head, he's going to try to get the ball out a little bit fast so he won't get hit, but it's not making a difference. The Rams are making sure to get to the quarterback, and they're laying hits on the quarterback, and that's what's really important.
All righty, well, you heard it right here from Palmer Alexander III. The Rams are going to win again. I happen to agree. So thanks for tuning in once again. My name is Ishmael Sistrunk with the St. Louis American and STLamerican.com. Signing off with Palmer Alexander III. Palmer, if people want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
You can find me in Talk Sports with Control Chaos, and you can always follow me inside the St. Louis American.
And check us out on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe down below, leave a comment, whatever, and we'll see you back next week. Thanks a lot.